shot is to win the NFC East, particularly with the Philadelphia Eagles reeling the way that they have. I think with Dallas rolling the way that they have, being so lethal offensively, with Quinnen Williams and the impact that he's had on them defensively, not just stopping the run, but getting at the quarterback the way that they did, hitting Patrick Mahomes 9 times, sacking him 3 times. I think a lot needs to be said about that. Then you got a cat like Jadeveon Clowney, who we hadn't heard from in ages. He had 2 sacks against Patrick Mahomes on Thursday as well. So we got to look at all of those things right now and the momentum that the Dallas Cowboys are riding right now, being undefeated since the trade deadline deals, having their defense look as formidable as it has looked, their offense looking as lethal as it has looked. For them to have been beaten, the Super Bowl combatants, both Kansas City and Philadelphia, in a 4-day span, says a lot about them. It speaks to the momentum they've built. It's put everybody on notice that the Dallas Cowboys is still a team to be reckoned with. And believe it or not, they could end up winning this division. If they were to then turn around and lose to the Detroit Lions, I think that would be a devastating blow that would derail their playoff aspirations. So I'm going to say the Cowboys for this one.
Who needs it more, Cowboys or Lions?
I'm going to say the Cowboys need this game more, and that's because I've given up on the Detroit Lions this season. And I think there's a strong case to be made that the Lions missed their championship window. And I just go back to that NFC Championship game they had a couple of years ago in San Francisco when Dan Campbell went for it on all of those 4th downs early in the game, and they came back to bite him in the end. But if you look at this team in Detroit, they don't stop people in the critical downs and distances. You're talking about them allowing the Green Bay Packers to convert multiple 4th downs, including 2 touchdown passes on 4th downs. They were 0 for 2 on 4th downs on the offensive side of the ball. One was play calling, Jahmyr Gibbs shotgun run, ridiculous call, Dan Campbell. Second one, J-Mo drops a pass that hits him in both hands a little bit behind him, but in a gotta-have-it situation, you got to come up with that. So those things concern me. The interior of the offensive line is a problem, as evidenced by the 7 sacks that they gave up to the Green Bay Packers on Turkey Day. Guess what? Frank Ragnow ain't walking through that door. And then, oh, by the way, one of the most reliable players you got on your team, Amon-Ra St. Brown, is dealing with a lower body injury. Not to mention your secondary is in shambles due to all of the injuries. Terrion Arnold just placed on IR. Kirby Joseph been banged up. So I just don't believe that the Detroit Lions, even with a win, can do enough to be of any significance as we get into January football and potentially in the playoffs.
Wow, I'm with you. I mean, listen, what you're saying makes total sense. I think this is a Cowboys for sure. I think when you look at what the Cowboys, with the Eagles coming back, with the Cowboys coming back against the Eagles from 21, then beating the Chiefs, now set up with the Lions, and it's a favorable matchup. To your point, St. Brown might be he might not play, or he will be dinged up. Either way, you have a banged up secondary from the Detroit Lions against Pickens and against CeeDee Lamb.
Good luck.
Ferguson. Yeah, I mean, we just saw what they did against a really good Chiefs defense, and so and Williams can run the ball physically, and I think. When you look at, I think the biggest difference for me, and you and I talked about this when they first made the signings, and we talked about it may not matter for this year, but this is the foundation for the Cowboys. When Williams and Clark and Overshown and Wilson are right in the middle, and now everybody else is getting kind of healthy around them and all the pieces and parts, they got the foundation. They turned it around much faster than I did.
Yes.
And here's the part that Eberflus has done. They played a lot of 5-man front. They started with the Eagles, and they put them in this front, which shut down Saquon, forced him to throw it. Then they continued this against – if they can do that against the Lions, because if St. Brown, especially if he's not playing, and now they have the matchups they want, maybe they do that. And by the way, Detroit wants to play man. Who wants to go play man against Pickens and Lamb? I know I don't. All them injuries, and now you got a good offensive line, and Dak with time, it does not bode well for the Lions. Now, Dan Campbell does a really good job of coming off a loss and getting his team ready to play. It's a Thursday game. I get it. In Detroit, which is a big, but all that to say, the Lions giving up that many sacks to the Packers was concerning. And Love lit them up. He lit them up. And listen, I've been hard on Jordan Love, but the dude played good. And Dak, is playing. If he's not as good as he's on the same exact line, that thing right there. I mean,
Dak has the #1 QBR in the NFL right
unbelievable.
now. Dak had his 3rd straight game with 200 passing yards to wide receivers. It's the longest streak in the NFL.
It's unbelievable.
So it's the best offense in the league.
Yeah. Yep.
They've only had one game where they haven't rushed over 100 yards.
Do you
It's
think the
incredible.
Lions are done, Stephen A? Do you agree with Canty?
I don't think they're done. Look, they got to win this game. They got to win this game or they're done. I agree with that, but I'm going to reserve judgment until I see this game Thursday night and see what happens. My question to you two, Jeff and CC, would be this. What's going to determine who the league MVP is, particularly from the quarterback position? We've mentioned a whole bunch of stuff, QBRs, victories, records, how you're playing as the season wanes, all of these different subject matters. What's going to be the determining factor for y'all to decide who the league MVP is? Because we've gone back and forth between Dak, Donald, Stafford. At one time, it was Daniel Jones in the mix. Yeah. Now we're looking at Drake May. What's going to determine it?
I think for me, if the Cowboys don't make the playoffs, Dak is off the list. It doesn't matter. If your team don't make the playoffs, I don't think you give the MVP. But I would say the way that May finishes the season and the way that Stafford does, those two to me are the two front runners. I think both guys. And listen, May's leading the league in yards and hasn't even had a 300-yard passing day. That just shows you how consistent the guy plays week in and week out. And to do it as quickly as he does, I think it's kind of like a season-long award, right? Like what your expectations were. So I think if he finished strong, I think May would be the winner in the clubhouse for me, even though Stafford's had a crazy season so far.
The way the MVP voting has gone over the last 2 decades, you typically have to win your division and have a top 2 record in your respective conference. And so I don't think the Dallas Cowboys can get to that point. We'll have to wait and see how the next couple of games shake out. But they do have games against teams with a losing record. I think 3 or more of their 5 remaining games are against teams below 500. So we'll see.
Right.
But when it comes to Drake May and Matt Stafford, I feel like they're so far out in front when it comes to this MVP race. But Dak has the storylines that could get him in the mix.
Yeah.
If they run the table and the Cowboys win the division, think about this.
That's right.
The team survived trading the best player on the eve of the regular season beginning. And you survived the tragedy of Marshawn Kneeland taking his own life.
Yep.
And a lot of upheaval at the trade deadline with shuffling pieces. Dak has played at a level to allow the Cowboys games at this point in the season to actually matter.
Yeah.
And I think there is a tremendous amount of value in that. So if they can find a way to win the division, then maybe we can entertain the possibility of Dak Prescott being the MVP. But until that becomes clear and obvious, I'm going to lean toward one of those other quarterbacks that are out in front.
Right now, Drake May is currently the favorite. The way him and Matthew Stafford have taken care of the ball, their records indicate they both seem to have their teams leading the way in terms of having the #1 overall seed. Of course, we'll wait and see. Thursday would go a long way, though, for Dak and the Cowboys against the Lions in Detroit. Coming up here on